Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Just give me a minute, we'll start shortly. Let us start with the prayers while the others are still waiting to join. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ओम ज्ञानतिम्रान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनच्छलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः तदा मह्यं ददाति सुपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीवैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमा ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधानाथ स्वामी नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष कम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य। हरि ओम। Hare Krishna. So, welcome, and today's auspicious day of Gopashtami in the month of Kartik. So, very fortunate we are able to discuss Harikatha on this auspicious day. This is the day when Nanda Maharaj gives charge cows, Krishna and Balram. Up until this day, Krishna and Balram were only allowed to take care of the cows because they were still too young. If I'm not wrong, they started taking care of the cows. They were barely 2-3 years old. This is the time they started taking care of the cows as well. So this is like growing up as a cowherd boy. So anyway, this is celebrated. That's why you'll see a lot of these darshans of Krishna dressed as a cowherd boy with robe. I posted some pictures from Shri Radha Gopinath temple. Very beautiful darshan of Gopal, Gopashtami. So very nice, very sweet. So our topic of discussion is the pastimes of Lord Nrsimhadev. We are continuing the discussion of Canto 6. We are discussing chapter 3 today, not a very big chapter. The chapter which deals with Hiranyakashipu's attempts to become immortal. So we were discussing the pastime of Hiranyakashipu, and the discussion we had in the last class was how Hiranyakashipu was extremely disturbed when his brother Hiranyaksha was killed by Varahadev. And we discussed how there were two aspects to the story. One aspect to the story was consoling his family members, especially his sister-in-law, his nephews, his mother, and in a bid to manage their lamentation, we heard how Hiranyakashipu uses the philosophical knowledge at his disposal. We were unexpected Bhagavatam class, which did produce that temporary tactical result of ameliorating the misery of the family members. Sometimes philosophy also helps, if not in terms of making us person spiritual, but at least in terms of dealing with tragedy, dealing with depression. So when one realizes, oh, ultimately everything is temporary. I am eternal. This body and everything. It's also actually a very liberating feeling, even intellectually trying to understand. So if one is under too much misery and under too much suffering and thinking, oh, my life is so miserable, so difficult. One good sadhana, I mean, one way is to, of course, listen to philosophy, but if a person feels that it is not working too well, then one can take a couple of hours and go to a nearby crematorium. And just spend some time there as various bodies are being burned. Crematorium is a good way, at least, to quickly, even though temporarily, get insight into the temporary nature of this world. Very quickly one realizes, oh God, this is because one can relate that this is what one day my destination is going to be. A lifeless corpse. Nobody is interested and it will be put into the fire and everybody will walk away. And no matter how much we think, I am so important, nothing goes on without me, what will happen to this and that, that is all an illusion. Life goes on, everybody happily returns to their respective lives. Yes, there will be a small period of pain depending on how close various individuals have been to us. Things settle, life adjusts itself. Nobody is indispensable, no matter how great they are, no matter how great. Even when the Supreme Lord's own incarnations also go back, adjusts itself by the arrangement of the Lord. Everything goes on. What is indispensable? So it's very sobering. So some time ago, somehow in my YouTube Reels feed, I was getting some videos recommended which were actually showing burning of bodies in Varanasi, Manikarnika Ghat, a very famous ghat. And the whole theme of that channel was to show burning bodies, how dead bodies are treated and what is their ultimate fate and how that is the destination. It's quite sobering. Anyway, so of course, Hiranyakashipu's family didn't have to go and pay a visit to the crematorium, but Hiranyakashipu, being an expert philosopher as well, he gave that class and he helped his family members manage their grief. Parallelly, Hiranyakashipu was so angry, especially with Lord Vishnu, that as per him, Vishnu had given up his equanimity to all living entities and sided with the Devatas, even though that was not true. And after siding with the Devatas, Lord Vishnu had, as per him, caused the death of his brother unfairly. So he took a vow. Now my life's purpose is to kill Vishnu. I want to chop off his head and drink the blood. He was very, very determined. And we also discussed in the last class how he ordered the very, very powerful asuras, both from his own family, the family of Diti, the Daityas, and also the Danavas, children of Danu, who are also his cousins. Actually, his half brothers, say cousins, because Danu and Diti are co-wives of Kashyap. So, Hiranyakashipu ordered them that while I am busy dealing with Vishnu, because I am the most powerful amongst you, I will deal with Vishnu. You all create ruckus on earth. Make sure no religious activities are performed. The sages cannot do their penances. The Brahmanas cannot do their yajnas. Destroy Brahmanical culture, destroy Kshatriya culture, destroy the performance of yajnas. In that way, the Devatas will become very. So he took a two-pronged approach. So that is what we were discussing. Now when Hiranyakashipu, now we are coming to the chapter of today. Now when Hiranyakashipu said, now I need to tackle Vishnu. Now he realized, based on his SWOT analysis, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are my opportunities, what are my threats. His whole SWOT analysis realized I am not currently powerful enough to take on Vishnu. Of course, one can never be powerful enough to take on Lord Vishnu, but he didn't think so. Thought that, if I become powerful enough, I can achieve my objective. That was his thought process. Because he did not quite appreciate Vishnu as the supreme, transcendental, all-pervading, supreme personality of Godhead who cannot be killed. So even though he knew so much philosophy, he somehow missed his understanding, and he thought that Lord Vishnu is somebody whose neck he can chop off and drink the blood. It was quite not so intelligent on his part. Anyway, he realized that there is a huge gap between his power now and the kind of power he needs to deal with Lord Vishnu. So he decided that I must make myself more powerful. So usually when one wants to become powerful, what will typically one do to increase his strength? Of course, Hiranyakashipu was smart, so he didn't do the usual things. He didn't say, oh, let me go to the gym, build my muscles, have a six-pack, do karate training, learn some martial arts, get some new weapons. He knew that dealing with the Devatas and the Lord of the Devatas required extraordinary powers, mystical powers. It was not just about brute strength. He had to deal with subtle energies, subtle powers, very, very, very powerful energies of the Devatas and the Lord. He was thinking, how can I acquire this? Obviously, there's no supermarket where you can go and purchase. So the standard currency of increasing power, or what to speak of power, if a living entity in the material creation wants anything, whether it's power, whether it's wealth, any goodies which are desirable, one has to pay. Either one has the karma, he spends from it, or he has to acquire the necessary credits. And the most common way of acquiring the necessary credits is to perform, for very great attainments, is to perform severe austerities. And that is why you see this as a constant theme across the scriptures, not just in this pastime, but and not just even amongst the Daityas, even amongst the Devatas, even amongst the devotees. When they want very special blessings, they perform great austerities. Of course, there's a difference in the quality of the austerities. The demons do austerities in the mode of ignorance for their selfish purposes. The devotees do austerities in the mode of goodness with a selfless desire to serve and develop their love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But nonetheless, they are all trying to earn the currency by which they can achieve their hearts. So Brahmaji, sorry, Hiranyakashipu was thinking, who is it that I can get this kind of a benediction from? So the only person he could think, because he thought of the original living being within this universe is Lord Brahma, which is true because Lord Vishnu is not a created being of this world. Lord Brahma is the first being, created being in this universe. So, okay, I will perform austerities and please Lord Brahma. Brahma is the only one who is so powerful that he can grant me the kind of benedictions which will allow me to achieve my objective. He knew that the Devatas could not do it because he knew that the Devatas themselves are limited in their powers, and how can I get power from the Devatas which can defeat the Devatas? Doesn't make sense because they cannot give, or nobody can give more than what they have. And he was convinced that Brahmaji can give. He saw Brahmaji practically as the Supreme Lord. And many asuras think of Brahmaji like that. And that's very interesting. They think of Brahma as the Supreme Lord. And in fact, this point is mentioned by Narad Muni also in a previous conversation in the Bhagavatam. I think this is the third or the fourth canto, where Narad Muni goes to Lord Brahma and says, "Oh, my father, there are some people who say that you are the Supreme Lord. Is it true?" And he says, "No, no, no. Some people bewildered by the modes of nature, thinking of me to be just the original first being in this world, they think that I am all in all. But behind me, there is a boss. It's not visible. I also came from somebody." Anyway, so Hiranyakashipu thought of Lord Brahma as the all in all. So Hiranyakashipu had a desire that I must become so powerful, so powerful, so powerful that nobody in all creation can kill me or defeat me or challenge. So he wanted to be unconquerable. He wanted to be not only unconquerable, because you can become unconquerable for now, but what after some years you'll become old, then you will die. I want to be unconquerable and I want to conquer old age also. Old age, dwindling of the body, no such thing should happen. And I should also get all mystic powers because I want to fight and deal with the greatest powers in the universe. So I want all mystic powers. He knew that there are these 8 mystic powers: Anima, Laghima, Prapti, Kam, Vasaita, so on and so forth, Prakamya. So I want all the yogic powers. And I want to be able to control everyone all the way up to Brahmalok. So having that firm resolve, he told his wife, it's not mentioned in this chapter, but it is said that he told his wife that at that time his wife was pregnant. Actually, sorry. Okay, that part of the story is not mentioned here, but there is an interesting story which happened. Maybe I'll just mention it in the passing. It's not mentioned here. But there were two attempts which Hiranyakashipu did at performing austerities. So first time he told his wife that I am going to perform austerities. He went to the forest. He was performing austerities. And Indra and one more Devata, I do not know his name, they came in the form of birds. They knew that Hiranyakashipu was going to perform austerities. And they knew that the purpose of his austerities is ultimately to defeat all the Devatas. They were chanting the name of the Lord, Narayan, 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 as he was performing austerities. He was so disturbed, huh, that he just stopped his austerity and came back home. Just so disturbed. And it is said when he came back home and then was in the company of his wife, and his wife said, so soon you came back, you said you are going for 1,000 years to perform austerities. What happened? He came back very soon. You achieve your objective. Said, no, these Devatas, they are not letting me do, so I decided to come back for now. So it is said that that particular night he was in union with his wife. At that time, as he was in union with his wife, he was remembering what had happened when he was performing austerities, and the name of Narayan, which the birds were reciting, was reverberating in his consciousness. Narayan, Narayan. So Acharya say, by virtue of the meditation on the Lord, even though that was not his intention, and at the same time the conception happened, it is said the soul of the great devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, was attracted and placed in the womb of his wife, Dayadu. So the soul appears at the time of conception, not at the time of delivery. Anyway, so that's a background story. And then after some time, he went back to perform austerities. At that time, Kayadu was pregnant. So what we are listening to now is when Kayadu is pregnant already. Now, this part of the story is obviously not mentioned here. It is mentioned in other Puranas, not mentioned in the Bhagavatam. So he went to the valley of the Mandara mountain and he started performing his austerities. Now, the way he performed his austerities is described. It is said he stood on his 2 feet, but he stood on the toes of his feet. Not flat feet, on the toes of his feet. He reached his arms out, up, straight. He looked up towards the sky. This was a very, very difficult position to even balance. If you want to try, you can try. It's practically impossible to even remain like that for a few seconds. Extremely painful. To be on your toes and to balance like that is extremely, extremely difficult. And he started praying to Lord Brahma in that particular position. And he was so controlled in his mind, in his body, in his words. He said, just fixed his mind with great determination on worshipping Lord Brahma, taking away any other thought, not caring about food, not caring about water, not caring about weather or any other external situations. He just refused to be disturbed by anything. And he continued to perform this kind of a severe austerity for a long, long time. It is said as his austerities progressed, and mind you, he was not taking a break. It was not that he was doing for 15 minutes and then he was sitting down for a while, checking WhatsApp, sipping on some hot tea, then coming back and continuing. We struggle even to complete one round of japa. Within our japa also, we are looking at our phone. Those apps. There was no break at all. No food, no water, no toilet break. How he managed all that, don't ask me because I do not know. But that was the power of his austerities. There was rain, there was heat, lashing at his practically unprotected body. Not only that, in that position that he was standing in, what do you expect? Insects, worms, ants, they were coming at his body and pecking at his flesh and eating. Even with ants eating his flesh slowly, he could not even twitch a little bit. That is the kind of austerity. Just phenomenal. And when somebody performs this kind of austerities, the kind of energy, subtle energy that it produced, it is said practically a fire was coming out from the head of Hiranyakashipu because of his severe austerities. And this fire and smoke was spreading through the universe. Must be some kind of a subtle heat that austerity produces, not literally necessarily a gross fire. That may also be there, but the heat was such that the heat was affecting the entire universe. It is said the rivers and the oceans were disturbed. The whole surface of the globe, the mountains, the islands, they began trembling. The stars and the planets were being affected in their stability, their respective orbital paths. All directions were being burned by this severe austerities. Devatas were very disturbed. First of all, initially nobody could figure out what is going on. What is causing this kind of a disturbance in the entire universe until the Devatas finally understood that this Hiranyakashipu's austerities are causing this kind of a ruckus disturbance. They didn't know what to do. So the Devatas gathered together and they went to Brahmaloka. So when there's a problem which the Devatas cannot solve, first ladder of escalation is, of course, they try to go to Indra. They cannot fix the problem. Then they go to Brahma. That is there. Of course, there is first before they go to Brahma, there is Brihaspati. They'll first consult with their guru. The next step in the escalatory ladder, the next boss, Brahma. If Brahma also cannot solve the problem, then they may go to Shiva or sometimes they may go directly to Lord Vishnu. So that is the sequence of escalation. So this was a very, very serious issue and they rushed to Lord Brahma. And now, Lord of all the Devatas, there is a massive fire emanating from Hiranyakashipu's head because of his severe austerities. And it is so unbearable and it's so disturbing to us that we came to see because we need to stop these disturbances. This is disturbing practically life all over the universe when we are very afraid that this heat of this austerity will actually practically destroy the universe. So please do something before all of us who are your subjects are annihilated by this kind of fire. Hiranyakashipu is doing a most terrible austerity. Oh Lord Brahma, I am sure that you know what is the purpose of his austerity. But nonetheless, we would like to inform you. You know what is hidden from you. Huh? The thinking of Hiranyakashipu, oh Brahmaji, is like this. He is thinking that you as Lord Brahma got your position of Brahma by performing austerities. Right? Because you performed austerities at the beginning of creation and you pleased Lord Hari, you got your power and all your mystic powers. Then you also got the power to create the entire universe and become who you are, so powerful. So he is thinking that if he performs very severe austerity, he can also acquire that kind of power. Power, mystic powers. And he's so determined, he's saying it doesn't matter how many lifetimes, birth after birth, I'll perform austerities. as long as I can become as powerful as you, Brahma. Demigods are telling Brahmaji, this is what Hiranyakashipu is thinking. He wants to become as powerful as you and finally eliminate you and occupy your position. So there is no actual love and devotion in his austerity. So this is the demoniac mentality always, right? I get from you what you have and I finally finish you and I occupy your seat. And not only this, O Lord Brahma, the Devatas are saying, Hiranyakashipu is thinking that as soon as I, by virtue of my austerities, achieve the position of Brahma, I will do fundamental changes in the way this universe works. I will make opposite the reactions of karma. Which means if you perform good karma, you will be punished. If you perform bad karma, you will be rewarded. I will change. So I will achieve the position of. So, O Lord Brahma, this is what we have heard from reliable sources, our intelligence report. This is what our CIA has informed us, spies of the Devatas, that this is what Hiranyakashipu is up to. So, you are the boss, you are our boss, you are the main person within this universe. Please, we don't know what is the right thing to be done. You please do whatever is necessary. Two things have to be done. First is how stop this burning fire. Second is how to manage what Hiranyakashipu is trying to achieve. And you have to somehow stop him from occupying your position, because if that happens, everything is ruined. Everything is fixed. So Brahmaji, when he heard this, he understood, yeah, I am also aware of all these things that are happening. I'm also aware of the desire of Hiranyakashipu. So, okay, I think it is time now for me to uh, interact with him and see what is it that he wants. So Brahmaji told Rigu and Daksha and a few other great sages, said, you come along with me. Let us go and pay a visit to this Hiranyakashipu. So Brahmaji sat on his swan and the other great sages also came along with him. And they came to the valley of the Darhin, where Hiranyakashipu was performing austerities. Now, by that time, 100 celestial years had passed. Celestial years. One celestial day is equal to 1 year of hours. So 100 celestial years. By that time, an anthill actually grew around the body of Hiranyakashipu, and they had eaten the flesh and drank the blood of Hiranyakashipu. All the flesh, all the organs, everything was eaten up. The bones were remaining. No skin, no flesh, no fat, no blood. There was just one huge anthill, but still the life air, prana. Hiranyakashipu was such a austere penance performer that he was able to hold his prana within the bones of his body so that he did not die, even though practically everything was eaten up and all that was remaining was a skeleton. Now, who can do this? Obviously, no ordinary living being can do this. Hiranyakashipu was not ordinary, and that's why this whole episode was so surprising. In fact, when Lord Brahma came there and he's looking at it, Hiranyakashipu should be here somewhere, but I don't see him. Finally, Brahmaji realized, oh, he's inside this anthill. It's covered by the anthill. There is grass, there are bamboo sticks. The Bhagavatam says he seemed like the sun covered by a cloud. was spreading heat in all directions from that anthill and burning the universe. Mahaji was struck with wonder. Oh, wow, this is extraordinary. And Lord Brahma began to smile because it's not easy to impress Brahma. What to speak in this case, he was absolutely wonderstruck. So Brahma began to smile and he addressed Hiranyakashipu and started speaking to him. He said, "Oh, son of Kashyap Muni, oh Hiranyakashipu, please get up. Your austerities, the performance of your austerities is perfect. All good fortune to you. You have performed very extraordinary penance. And that is why I have come here to give you a benediction. Whatever you want from me, I will fulfill your desire. Your endurance in this austerity that you have performed, surprising even to me. Your whole body, your flesh, everything was bitten and eaten away by worms and ants. Still, you have maintained your life here. This is very wonderful. I have never ever seen or heard of any austerities like this. Even Bhrigu Muni, who is considered amongst the most austere of the sages and who was born much earlier than you, my direct son, my mind-born son, Bhrigu, he also cannot perform this kind of austerities. So I can tell honestly that what you are doing today, neither has anybody done in the past, or can anyone ever attempt to do something like this in the future. Can sustain their life like this without food, water, and being eaten up for 100 celestial years. You have achieved the impossible, my dear son of. You have done what not even great sages and devotees and saintly persons can do. That. So I am obliged to come. I have to fulfill what you want. So now I am prepared to give you whatever benedictions you want. Now that I have come personally, my darshan will never go in vain. Whatever you want, I will grant you. So after he spoke like this, Brahmaji took some water from his kamandalu, celestial, spiritual water, Bhagavatam, and he sprinkled it on the anthill. By virtue of the skeleton of Hiranyakashipu being sprinkled by this divine water, immediately the body of Hiranyakashipu became rejuvenated. He again got a youthful, fresh form. So all the flesh, organs, blood, everything instantly came back and he emerged out of that. Looking extremely strong, not just a body which had recovered itself, but a body which was as strong, which looked so strong that even if a thunderbolt was hit on it, it could still withstand that blow. It is said he was emanating effulgence as if his body was like molten gold. So he emerged from that anthill. Just as the Bhagavatam says, fire comes out from wood. And he sees Lord Brahma. He finally says, oh, the object of my meditation, my austerities has come in front of me. He was so happy. He was so overwhelmed. Immediately with tears in his eyes, Hiranyakashipu fell on the ground. Flat, full Dandavat. And he was so happy. He got up again and being overwhelmed, with tears in his eyes and his body trembling out of jubilation, began praying very, very humbly with folded hands and a faltering voice. Please, Lord Brahma. And then he offers very beautiful praises. So very interestingly in his prayers, I'll not go into prayers in details, but interestingly, he refers to Brahmaji as the Supreme Lord within this universe. He says, you are so great. Your day is so glorious that during your daytime, there is creation. During your night time and you are asleep, there is darkness all over the universe. Nothing is there. Again, you wake up and again creation happens. This is the kind of power you have. You are controlling this entire cosmic manifestation. So he was glorifying him. And many of these glorification, in one sense, is even beyond what Lord Brahma manages. So he saw Brahma not just as a creator, he saw Brahma as Supreme Lord. You're present everywhere, you're controlling all the modes of nature. There is no one beyond you. You are the original personality, you are cognizant of everything. All living entities and all moving and non-moving are controlled by you. So he describes, and the acharyas say that, he was glorifying Lord Brahma like that because Lord Brahma is the representative of the Supreme. Although he is not fully the Supreme himself. Within this universe, Brahma is Supreme. Because he is the firstborn. So he glorifies Brahma with prayers and after glorifying him suitably, he says to Brahma, because Brahma has already told him, I am willing to give you any benediction. So he doesn't waste much time, glorifies for 4 or 5 verses. He comes to the point. Demand list. This is, oh, my Lord, oh, giver of all benedictions. Since you want to give me a benediction, please listen to what it is that I want. Please grant me, O Lord Brahma, that I will never meet death from any living entities created by you. Actually, even though it is not mentioned here in the Bhagavatam, in other places, other scriptures, and there may be kalpa bhed, that sometimes the asking may be slightly in a different way because these pastimes repeat themselves. In some places, it is mentioned that he first asked to become immortal. And when he asked to become immortal, Lord Brahma says, you are asking to give you something which I myself don't have. So I am willing to give you anything you want, but you cannot ask me something which is not in my power to give. Correct? For example, somebody comes to me and says, Prabhu, please give me 1 billion US dollars. I say, Prabhu, I myself don't have even 0.1% of that. How can I give you something which I don't have? 100 ringgit I can give you. 100 ringgit I can give you, maybe a little bit more also I can give, but can I give you 1 billion? So when he said like that, then and he said, please ask for something else, then Hiranyakashipu started processing in his fertile mind as to how he can still get what he wants, immortality, without asking for immortality. So that part of the pastime is not mentioned here. It may be because of Yuga Bhed. Yuga Bhed means Kalpa Bhed, sorry. Kalpa Bhed means sometimes pastimes which repeat across various kalpas or various yugas. So some pastime happen only once in a kalpa, some pastimes happen every manvantar, some pastimes happen in every yuga, different kinds of pastimes. So for example, Krishna's pastime happen and original Ram and original Krishna appear only once in a day of Brahma. So sometimes there are differences in Ram Leela which are described by different scriptures. When in Krishna Leela, some pastimes are slightly differently described, and the Acharyas explain the difference. It's not that one is right and one is wrong. They are from the scriptures, they are from the Puranas, they are all true. The difference is because of Kalpa Bheda. Kalpa Bheda means In different kalpas, when the Lord appears, the pastime may be slightly different. The main characters and the main storyline is similar, but may not be exact. May not be exact. And there are many variations. When in Ram Leela, you know, there are slight deviation from the original story, but just to mention, there are Ramayana pastimes, which I've heard in some classes, where the ending of the story is not Ravana being killed, but Ram and Ravan becoming friends, and Ravan returning Sita. So there are variations of various kinds. But anyway, the principal characters are more or less the same. So here that part is not mentioned, with respect to asking like that. But that's a very commonly mentioned understanding, because this pastime is also across a few other Puranas. There's a Narsingha Puran, which also describes a lot of Narsingha's pastimes, and their various kathas in connection to this story are also mentioned. So the way Hiranyakashipu asks for benediction, let me not meet death at the hands of any living entity which you have created. Now, why he asked like this? Because everyone within this universe is created by Brahma. So he says, if anybody I say created by you, that means I am taking care of everybody. But he thought, just in case this, for some reason, this doesn't work, let me ask it in a different way also. He says, grant me a blessing, I will not die inside any residence or outside any residence. Because he's thinking, either I'll be inside house or outside house. So if I ask for this, it also means that I will never die. I cannot die during the daytime or at night time. I cannot die when I'm on the ground. I cannot die when I'm in the sky. Grant me that my death cannot be brought about by any being created by you. And not only any being created by you, not even by any weapon, not by any human, not even by any animal. What to speak of this? No living or non-living thing can kill me. He was so thorough in his analysis to make sure that there is no way anybody or anything can kill him. I should not be killed by any Devata, any Asura, any of the Nagas, anyone from any of the lower planetary systems. Just like you, Lord Brahma, nobody is your rival, nobody can challenge you and nobody can kill you. A similar benediction that I will have no rival or competitor who can kill me. Also give me full lordship over all living entities. Which means all living entities will report to me. I can control all of them, including all the devatas. Including control over all the opulences and the powers that all these entities have. Imagine what kind of an ask that is. And last but not the least, grant me all the mystic powers, the 8 mystic powers, which are attained by performance of yoga and austerities. Give me all those 8 mystic powers and all other subsidiary mystic powers in full. And I should never be able to lose them. Wow. What kind of an ask? Hiranyakashipu believed that was a airtight, watertight ask, that there was no way that anybody or anything can kill. Can you imagine? Huh? Not only can he not be killed by any kind of living entity that Brahma has created, he has, he has control over all living entities, he has all mystic powers, sovereignty over all the devatas. He said he was so powerful after that. Even the devatas would run away in fear. Brahmaji actually granted that benediction, much to the dismay of the devatas. Devatas must have hit their, it's not mentioned here, must have hit their hand on their head. Arey Baba, abhi to just now we told Brahma, go and sort out the problem. He created the problem for us. But we have to understand that that is the nature of the material universe and that is the limitation of the devatas. That when the necessary price is paid in terms of austerities, they have no choice but to grant the benedictions that are sought by the living entities. Even sometimes when they may not necessarily be good and beneficial. Of course, later on we will discuss towards the end of this pastime, actually Lord Vishnu in the form of Narsingha chastises Brahmaji and says, the future don't give these kind of benedictions. Literally chastises him. But generally, devatas are obliged to pay the price they have to give. Just like when you go to a shop, right? They put a price label. Huh? You pay the price, you buy. The shopkeeper doesn't say, no, I don't want to give to you. Huh? I don't like you. How will you use it? This is not good for you. This is too many calories. You cannot eat this. Pay price, take is your problem. All that matters is can you pay the price? So material universe works on that principle. Yajna, tapa. If by performing sacrifice, if by performing austerities, you get the necessary currency to buy whatever you want. Whether you want the post of Indra, there is a particular payment to be made. Whether you want opulence, or you want children, and even for devotional blessings, devotional austerities can be. So that brings us to the end of this chapter. So this is how Hiranyakashipu equipped himself. Because nobody can get a benediction higher than this. Nobody has ever got, nor is there an ask higher than this possible. You cannot even imagine. Because he asked all mystic powers, he asked all dominion over all living entities with all the opulences of all the devatas and all their glories. What is left to ask? There's nothing left. If you know something is left, please let me know. You can become the consultant to the next Hiranyakashipu in the next Kalpa. Something you missed last time, please add this to your benediction. Practically nothing left. There's nothing more you can ask for. So, if you're talking about the pinnacle of material attainment, nobody has ever attained as much as Hiranyakashipu achieved. And he was so determined. Ultimately, with what objective? Kill Vishnu. So this is the problem with the demons. It's not that the demons are not determined. It is not that the demons cannot perform strong austerities. In fact, Lord Brahma says, what you are doing, even great sages cannot do. The problem with the asuras is not that they cannot perform. Austerities. Problem with the asuras is that they do not have the right motivation to perform. Whatever they do it with selfish motivation. So anyway, so I'm going to pause now. We have 5 more minutes left. I saw some comments and questions. We'll take it up in a few minutes' time. Let us do the Damodar Ashtaka first. So just in case any one of you needs to drop off, you can drop off. So I'll attempt to sing the Damodar Ashtaka today. I'm in a little slightly better shape in terms of my throat. So, Krishna's blessings. Attempt to sing. So please join me. Have your lamps. So we have a few more days of the month of Damodar up to 16th. And the last 5 days of the month of Damodar are also especially special, from 12th to 16th, the Bhishma Panchaka, where if you want to increase your austerities or do more special services, that is considered a very wonderful auspicious time as well. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashodabhiyolukaladavamanam Param Rishtamatyantato Dritya Gopya Rudanta Muhurnetram Yugmam Rijantam Taram Bhoja Yugamena Shatanka Netram Muhushwasakam Patri Rekanka Kanta Stita Graivam Damodaram Bhakti Badam Iti Driksvali Labhirananda Kunde Swagosham Nimajantam Makhyapayantam Tadiyeshi Tadneshu Bhaktairjitatvam Punaha Prematastam Shata Vritti Bande Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksham Vadimva Nachanyam Vrineham Varishadapiha Idam Teva Purnata Gopala Balam Sadame Manasya Avirastam Vimanye Idam Te Mukhambojam Atyanta Nilair Ritam Kuntalai Snigdha Raktaischa Gopya Muhushumbitam Bimba Raktadharam Me Manasya Avirastam Malam Lakshalabhai Namo Deva Damodara Ananta Vishnu Prashida Prabho Dukha Jalabhrimagnam Kripadrishti Vrishtyati Dinam Batanu Gruhane Shamamagyam Medhyakshi Drishya Veratmajau Bhata Murtyai Vayadvat Vayamochitau Bhakti Bhajau Kritau Cha Tatha Prema Bhaktim Swatam Me Prayacha Namokshe Graho Mesti Damodareha Namaste Studamne Suradipti Dhamne Vadiyodharayata Vishwasya Dhamne Namo Radhikayai Twadiyai Priyayai Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radha Jai Shri Shri Radha Damodar Bhagavan Rupashtami Mahotsava ki Jai Nanda Kirala ki Jai. Thank you. Okay, Tarun has a suggestion to ask. Okay, Tarun, you can add it to. So this is what happens. Even no matter how much one thinks one is smart, one thinks he has covered everything. He has not. But in terms of power and in terms of attainment, he got whatever. There wasn't anything more to achieve in terms of opulence. See, there is opulence in terms of external opulence. He got everything. He got internal opulence in terms of mystic powers. subtle powers to control. Plus, he had control over all living entities. So what remains? So that kind of, and in such a way that his life cannot be taken away. Okay, any questions, any comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Prabhuji, one question I have about the Bhishma Pancha. So,
Yeah.
could you little elaborate about that? Means what is Bhishma Pancha and why it is called Bhishma Pancha?
Bhishma Panchak is the last 5 days of month of Kartik. So the Shastras recommend additional austerities to be performed. I will share some links maybe later if you're more interested. But it gives very great benefit. So even within Kartik, the last 5 days of Kartik are especially beneficial. It is said Bhishma Dev performed Svrata towards the end of his life. And there are various levels of performing of this Vrata. Of course, offering lamp and all that is there, but extra austerities, if one can do, are recommended. The most strict way of following the Vrata is practically not eating anything other than fruits. That too, certain kind of fruits only. I'm not going to all the details now, but multi-seed fruit should not be eaten, something like that. So, for 5 days. And of course, even higher than that is some Bhavishya. So there are various levels of following the Vrata. But in general, what we can say is following the same principle like Ekadashi, to whatever extent one can increase austerities and also increase one's devotional performances. To that extent, one can get benefit. So it is within Kartik, it is a special bonanza. So one can do according to one's capacity. Again, it is not a must. In the sense that it is not sinful. It's not like Ekadashi that if you don't do it, it is sinful. Ekadashi is like that. So this is an optional vrata, but it is beneficial for devotions. So if one cannot follow very strict, can do in a very simple way also. Let's say one says, oh, this days I will not eat this, for example. Or I'll eat only once a day, for example. So there are many ways to do it. But I will not have salt. I will not take this item. One can come up with whatever means. So Shastric recommendations are much more stringent in terms of the typical way in which this vrata is. So I can share later. I can put some links and share more details again. But to emphasize, it is not mandatory, but it is recommended. Anything else? Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Prabhu, I just want to check during the what is that Gopalastami day? Is it the day when what Radharani's feet is also shown? I mean,
Yeah.
That one only happens in Vrindavan only, is it, Prabhu? Because I mean, I'm not sure. I just want to clarify this point. Prabhu.
Yeah. So So for others, this is the day when oftentimes, just like on Radhashtami day, Radharani's lotus feet are shown. Similarly, on the Gopashtami day, Radharani's feet are shown in Vrindavan. So the pastime is like this, that when Krishna was given charge of the cows, because that was the day Krishna was given charge of the cows. So it is such an big news in Braj. Very big news. Oh, Krishna has been given. Everyone wants to see. the form of Gopal, Krishna, Balram with the cowherd boys herding the cows. So that darshan everyone wants. So they said the news reached Radharani that from today Krishna is going to herd the cows also. So Radharani was so excited with this news. She wanted to rush to where Krishna was, where he was beginning his Leela to, as a cowherd boy. Full-fledged cowherd boy. So he was no longer apprentice. He was about to be full-fledged cowherd boy. So it is said Radharani was in so much hurry so that she doesn't miss that darshan. She was running towards the place where Krishna and Balram were there. And it is said to increase her speed of running. Normally she will walk very gently, very gracefully. It said she had to lift her ghagra up a bit so that she can run faster. Correct? When ladies are wearing a long skirt, need to run, just gently lift up just a few inches so that they can run faster. Otherwise, their ghagra will get trapped in their feet and they will trip over. So it is said because of Radharani lifting her up ghagra for a few inches and running, her feet, which are normally not visible, became visible to the resident of the Vrindavan. Radharani ki. So this is what we have heard. There may be other explanations also. This is what is done in Vrindavan. I don't know whether this is done elsewhere. There may be different opinions. Different devotees have different opinions. This must be done only here. This must be done only there. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. But this is one of the explanations. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, so please continue your offering of the lamps. That itself is a wonderful blessing. All these additional austerities, you can increase your blessings, but we can get great blessings when we offer the lamp to the Lord with love, and when we extend this good fortune to others. So at least in these two regards, so this is also one kind of vow possible, that during Vishwa Panchak I will get so many others to offer lamps. For example, I'm just thinking aloud. It's one according to his capacity. Okay. Thank you very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Samaveta Gaura Bhakta. I'll see you all on Tuesday. We continue our Chaitanya Charitamrita sessions.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Haribol everyone.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Siniji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Anand Sundari Mataji, thank you. Jaji, Anita Mataji, thank you.
Thank you,
Rita ji, Suraj and Shalini, Haribol. Arun, Puja Mataji, Haribol. Sridevi ji,
Haribol, Prabhu.
Amit, Priya, Haribol. Charan Lakshmi Mataji, Sachiprem Mataji, Archana ji. Thank you all. Indulika Mataji, thank you. You all. I will see you all soon.